It's been a while since I've made a 3D printing video, but I wanted to change that today and share with you some of my favorite 3D prints related to video and photo. As fun as pretty much all 3D printing is, things like this aren't necessarily useful. My favorite application for 3D printing is when you can do something really genuinely useful with it. I've been interested in it for about 3 years now, and I just kind of realized that every day there's 3D printed objects that I use and interact with. Now these designs mostly I found on Thingiverse, so I'll put links down in the description to all of the things that I'm talking about today. Of course, you can modify them and change the designs, but for the most part, I've been using things just as they're posted to Thingiverse. The first of my favorite, most commonly used 3D printed items, but this thing right here, which takes forever to unscrew. Forever. But it is a case for GoPro batteries. So if you've used any of the more recent GoPros, you know that they kind of eat through batteries pretty quickly, and it's always a good idea, no matter what, just to have extra batteries, but traveling with them can be a little tricky. For me, they usually just end up in the bottom of the bag with the GoPro and getting kind of thrown around. And this little container keeps them super safe and super secure. As ridiculous as it is for how much you have to twist to open and close it, it does mean that no water, dirt, dust, anything is gonna happen. And when the batteries are in here, nothing is gonna go wrong with them. So it keeps them totally protected, totally organized, and ready to go at all times. My next most commonly used 3D print actually has to do with the DJI Ronin S, which I got last spring. In order to save a little bit of money, I actually bought the Essentials kit, which basically just means it doesn't come with like the follow focus and some of the extra accessories that the full price version comes with. The gimbal itself is exactly the same, but it means that these little ports on the side of the Ronin are just left uncovered and susceptible to dirt, dust, moisture, all that bad stuff. So I was able to find and print these little plates that just screw right on there, and then they protect these ports. I printed them in blue and purple because blue is my favorite color and purple's Heather's favorite color, and I like the way the two colors look together. One of my other favorite 3D prints, this one actually took a while longer to print because it's larger in size, is a case for the DJI Mavic Pro. I still have the original Mavic, but this is just, as you can see, a box that the drone fits into, and I'm sure it would fit the new versions too, or I'm sure there's new versions of this box for the new drones. But if you don't want to carry a full drone case, or you just want something that's going to protect this while you put it in your bag or anything, this is kind of a cool little storage solution. To be totally honest, I don't use this for the drone that often, but it's been a really awesome just container that I've been using for lots of other small little bits and pieces of photo video gear. If you do anything related to video and photo, you know that you just end up with all of these small little parts and components and accessories and cables, and sometimes you just need a nice place to keep those. So if the drone's not in here, that's usually what is in there. My absolute favorite 3D print that I have done for photo and video things is this right here. What the heck is this thing? When I record my videos, I try to use the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus as much as possible because I like the way that it sounds, and it plugs directly into the camera and syncs the audio automatically, and it just saves a whole step when it comes to editing. But sometimes that's not always possible or the most practical way to do things, and you might need to use an external audio recorder. And these are terrific. The problem with these is once you have things plugged into them and you're using it, you sort of end up with this recorder that now has to like be held or set somewhere, or you never really know where to put the recorder. So with this print, the recorder sits right in here. You still have access to the control panel. You have access to all the side switches. You have access to the XLR ports on the bottom, and then it clips on to the legs of a tripod. So while you're filming, the audio recorder is just right there on your tripod. You could put this design into a program like Tinkercad, so you can adjust these tripod mounts to fit whichever tripod you're using, but I found that just the way the design is by default works really well on a lot of smaller, lightweight travel tripods. I've been using it with my Benro Travel Angel, and it works really, really well. It comes in handy if you're using external mics while you're filming interviews and you need to keep the audio recorder in one place while the mics go out to the people being interviewed on screen. And this design is really cool because it has a little slot right here where you can keep some accessories. You could even put like a windscreen in there or some extra batteries and just keep everything ready to go as you're filming. And one of the best things about 3D printing is just the open source nature of the community. All of these designs are free on Thingiverse, which is awesome. You can design your own stuff depending how much time and energy you want to put in towards learning how to do 3D modeling and design and setting up 3D printers. You can really just kind of create whatever comes to mind. There's really no limit. The cost is super low. Once you get the printer, the filament, most of these things cost really under $1. The larger prints like this were maybe a couple of dollars to print by the filament that they use, but everything else is pretty cheap. And a lot of it, like these little plates on the Ronin, they're so easy to replace. If something goes wrong, I can just turn on the printer, print that out, have another one ready to go in like 10 minutes. And that is really fun. So I know that normally my videos are about photo and video, but if you are interested in 3D printing, I did put together a playlist of some of my favorite 3D printing videos that I've made over the past couple years. And I've also put a link here to one of my favorite videos I've ever made, which is a whole walkthrough of how I 3D printed and airbrushed a realistic scale model of a water tower, which sounds insane, but it was super fun and definitely recommend taking a few minutes and checking it out.